This is the No BS Travel Advisor podcast. I'm Marcie Muensterman, and this show is for travel advisors who want to run profitable businesses, charge what they're worth, and stop following outdated bullshit advice just because someone in the industry told them that that is the way it has always been done. Each episode brings real talk, practical strategies, and real stories from fellow travel advisors, because sometimes the best way to learn is hearing how someone else figured their shit out. So let's get to it. Good morning.
Good morning,
everyone. This is Marcie Muensterman with the No BS podcast for travel advisors, and I am here with Chelsey today. She is with Wandering with Chelsey Travel, and she's going on 3 years in her travel business. I'm really excited to have her today, but before I get started, I want to introduce myself. I am Marcie Muensterman, and I am your burnout survivor, veteran travel advisor here to help you find success in our business by maximizing the time you have, making the most money you have. And there are days when I just can't believe this is my new job. So I'm excited to be here and be talking with our colleagues and sharing their stories with you. So Chelsey, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Are you having a good morning?
Yes, it's been a lovely rainy morning here.
Yes, we actually have really good weather today, so I'm excited. So where are you from, Chelsey?
I am from Arkansas, a really little town called Lamar. I live out in the middle of nowhere on a farm, so probably a non-traditional travel agent, if you will.
I love that. And you told me you have cows, which makes me so excited. How many cows do you have?
So me and my brother and sister, we have probably 45 cows out there right now, but like I personally don't own all of them. I just own some of them, but they're all together right now having babies and everything.
Oh my gosh. I love a cow. My kids hate it because I will literally pull over to see cows and I scream moo in the car. So I'm so pumped that you have cows. I was like, this is the best. But you also are really busy being a mom. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your everyday life.
Okay. So my everyday life, I have 2 beautiful little girls. One is 4. Her name's Ellie. And the other one turns 2 next month. And her name is Izzy. And we live on a farm out in the middle of nowhere. They have a lot of grass they get to run around on every time. I'm married. My husband is a welder by trade. And right now our lives are, I actually watch a couple kids during the week, during the day. So that way I can stay home and be a mom at home. And then I'm also a travel advisor, which I don't think it's fair to call a travel advisor part-time because you're full-time, no matter what.
Everybody is full-time, even when they're part-time.
That's right. That's right. So that is our life currently. 2 months ago, our lives were totally different than that because we were traveling around the country for my husband's work, living in a fifth wheel. And we did that for 3 years. And so we finally got our house built and moved into. So here we go.
Well, congratulations. It
Thank
sounds
you.
So much has changed in your life. Yeah. So how has your travel advisor business been during that time? What were you experiencing actually early in your career versus kind of how you are now? Take us a little bit through that.
Okay, so I'll start from the very beginning. So when my husband decided he wanted to go out on the road, he did. And he was out there for a few months and I had a full-time job. And it was kind of the end of COVID. Everybody was going back to the office. And while he was out on the road and I was back in the office, I had to figure out what to do with Ellie. And so she was in an in-home daycare. But my job at the time was not just a 9 to 5. Like I had evenings and weekends and programming going on. And so my family and all of our support system lived, I always say, an hour in the wrong direction.
Right.
We were. So it finally, I just felt like a single mom, if you will, trying to have a full-time job, raise a little girl. But I had a husband and I never saw him and he never saw our little girl. And I was like, I'm done. So we took the plunge of selling our house and bought a fifth wheel and off we go. And around that time, another one of my colleagues, she had just recently become a travel advisor And every time we saw each other, we'd always chit chat about travel. And she was like, okay, so I know you're moving, doing other things. I think you should look into becoming a travel advisor. It's like, oh my gosh, I think I would love this. It's something I can do from anywhere. So I jumped on and I started officially like January of 22. And so I did that. We were out on the road. Things were going honestly quite well for me. I was really excited about how my business was going. And then 3 months in, I literally got the worst phone call of my life one night, that my parents' house was on fire and they unfortunately did not make it. So
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
So sorry for your loss.
Thank you. It's not easy. Holidays really fucking suck.
They do.
Be quite honest. Thank you. And I'm sorry for your recent loss as well. It sucks. Life sucks sometimes.
That's traumatic, girl, though. That's like over the top. I'm really sorry about that.
Thank you. And so we were in Florida at the time. So we were halfway across the country. And after kind of the initial shock wore off in the first 30 minutes, we just threw some clothes in a bag and got in my car and we drove home and got home as early as we could. And so I was home. I did not really focus on anything except, so my dad had a lot of animals. We had sheep, we had cattle. He had more animals than I think any of us realized, probably more than he realized too. And so and honestly, if I'm being quite honest about it, I don't think I'm still yet grieved about them passing because it was just a go mode. Had animals to feed, animals to take care of. I had a little girl to take care of. It was just a constant go. And sometimes I'm thankful for that because I didn't just freaking melt down. But there's times like I'm pissed that I've not really fully gotten to just breathe and let it all out. That's something that I'm hoping now that I'm home and there's so many reminders I'll be able to do. But in that time, I didn't let it stop me from being a travel advisor. That's the beauty of it, being remote, making your own hours. You can do what you need, take all the time you need. And to be honest, I actually planned some pretty big trips like during that time. And I was sort of thankful for it because it was something to keep me busy and keep me going. And so I experienced that while trying to freaking start it.
Yeah, that is a lot to balance. And especially because your dad owned a farm, your family owned that farm. And I'm sure that was just a layer of like actual physical labor that you had to put out. And, it wasn't just sitting behind the desk creating proposals, I mean, there's just a lot that goes in, not to mention just taking care of your family, and your daughter was too young to understand what was happening. So I'm sure that there was just a lot going on at that time. So how was being a travel advisor during such challenging times? I feel like you wrote in your survey that you were just surviving.
Yes. And so it was just survival mode personally, and I still feel like that a lot of days.
Yeah.
Just still freaking surviving the day. I'm thankful that I was in the early phases of being a travel advisor when that happened. So I didn't have anybody on a trip. I didn't have anybody that, it was just proposals, still getting my name out there, the Facebook group thing. So I'm thankful for that. Because it probably would have crashed and burned a few trips if they were relying on me.
It's difficult, but it sounds like you really do have the tenacity to dig deep. And you're obviously very resilient. But what was going on in the background of all that with your host at that time?
Right. So, I was with an MLM at the time. And
let's pause really quick and tell people what an MLM is, because we use this terminology and I always catch myself. Multi-level marketing, right? So it's a direct sales company who happens to specialize in travel.
Correct.
Which, let's just talk about it for a minute, because I think a lot of people have lots of misunderstandings and misconceptions of the MLM world. Mm-hmm. And one of mine, I'll just share my unpopular opinion, which might surprise people, is that they're not going anywhere and they're going to keep recruiting and they're going to keep putting people into our arena. But because of that, it's like we don't have to embrace it per se. Like I'm putting air quotes around embrace, but I do think it's worthy of educating. Yes, they were recruited into the industry, but we're all recruited somehow. We're all attracted, right, to the business somehow. Like something has pulled us in and then we've had to find a space to land. And I know a lot of agents land in MLM because they're just out there promoting like the free travel piece. And I think that can be really difficult for those of us who have been in the industry for almost 20 years. There is no such thing as free travel.
No.
But you need to live and work beside real people, usually women who are attracted to this marketing that they put out. I just feel like you told me before that there were like two options usually when you sign up, like one to recruit and one not to recruit. So you have that option, correct?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
What was your split when you first started as an MLM?
So their split is 70-30 when you sign up. And then after you make $5,000 in commission, it bumps up to 80-20.
I think that's very fair. As somebody who is an advocate for paying fairly, I think that's an actually fair moment. Do they go any higher than 80-20?
No, not that I'm aware of. I think pretty much the only way you could make more money is if you started recruiting. Yeah.
Okay, to the recruiting, which I think is where a lot of my fellow colleagues are like that is where the ick factor is, because it does feel kind of predatory to say the kinds of things that they tend to say online. Mm-hmm. But having come from I actually used to be in a direct sales company as well. And I just know that there is so much camaraderie and a lot of things like that. But I think that you maybe didn't experience as much of the good side that could exist there. So like, how was your experience once you got going?
Right. So once I got going, I feel like it was just baptism by fire. You had to figure it out all on your own. And they said they would offer trainings and you had to go through this training series. I don't really think I learned anything sitting there and listening to it. And so it was me just figuring it out and praying that when I did my first booking, I did it correctly. So it was just one of
that makes me so anxious.
I know. Yeah, me too.
For you and for every MLM travel advisor out there. But I also want to say that could happen anywhere, in any host, at any agency, if you do not have proper support. So I'm so sorry that you went through that, but like, how did you manage it?
So I think it's just me as a person. I've always been somebody, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to do the research, put the time in. And because I'm one of those, like, I like to try to figure out the answers to questions before I ask. So that way, one, I've kind of done my research and I know what the answer should or shouldn't be. And then two, I know if you're blowing smoke up my ass or not when you answer the question. So I try to do that. And I think probably this goes back to how I've been able to handle my parents' death is when I'm in crisis mode, that's when I can kind of thrive and troubleshoot and do what needs to be done. And I feel like that's kind of what I had to do, trying to figure out the travel business. And there was a lot of good information that I was able to stumble upon. But I will say, like, when I first started, it was hard. Like, I didn't know where to start. And it was also a little daunting because this is what I will say about, and one of my icks, I guess, with them, because I will say I don't bash them. If it hadn't been for them, I would have never become a travel advisor or even.
We're so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. I mean, it's a stepping stone, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
It's all figure outable.
That's right.
And change, which
that's right.
And we'll get there, but go ahead.
But I was just really frustrated that you're dependent on who recruits you to pretty much train you. Heaven forbid they decide, like, I don't want to do this anymore, then you're just kind of left out in the abyss. Like, even though there's supposed to be tiers, and in theory, it makes sense that if your person is no longer there, then you just go to whomever recruited them, like it's a family tree. And that's not how it is at all, or at least not in my experience. Because when she withdrew from the recruiting side, I was just kind of left out there. But it was a team in that like her upline, we had this huge Facebook group. So you could reach out to all these different people. And to be honest, I call her my travel agent bestie. That's who I met her through all this. And we're now
positives all around. Again, that camaraderie, like you will find your people if you're looking. But it took like a while to like find your footing. I didn't even think about, and I mean, I eventually left my direct sales company. So there was somebody there that took my team members. We have not talked about this in a minute. So you do feel like abandoned, I think, as a team member. And I can, at least relate to leaving and like really wanting them to get the support they needed. But that just wasn't the case for you.
Right. And they really pushed recruiting. And I will say, I guess maybe when I initially signed up for both. And I tried to recruit, and I did sign up a couple people, but then they never did anything.
Right.
And so then I just also kind of reeled it back into me and said, okay, time out, Chelsey. What is it that you really want to do and can be successful at? I was like, how the hell can you recruit somebody to your team when you've never been a travel advisor and you don't know what the fuck you're doing and you're figuring it out? This makes absolutely zero sense.
The rational thinking process, Chelsey. And I think what we're really coming to learn as we're talking about this is when you are recruited versus when someone makes a decision to be a travel advisor and researches their options and understands maybe what they're getting into a little bit better, you could have a better experience. But I think on the flip side, your story is not unusual in that you kind of went with the first person that you talk to about this industry. And I think that happens to a lot of travel advisors, whether it's MLM or just some random travel agent that they meet or work with one time. And then they're like, ooh, I want to be a travel advisor. I specifically see this with with agents who specialize in Disney, that, they'll sign up with the first person that they've ever worked with. And it's not an MLM per se, but maybe they're not getting that support. And I think that it can be very common. And so that's the downside to our industry, right? Like you were saying, it's not all rainbows. When you are in commissionable sales, so much of it is figure out your own shit. But without proper mentorship, which even though I'm no longer with my original agency, I did have proper mentorship. And I think that was something that at that time I didn't have a full appreciation of. But now I look back and I'm like, yes, that was a moment of like reflection. Now I'm so glad I had that. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't get it. So you were obviously resilient. You really found your footing on your own, but you were still struggling.
Yes. Like I still just had this it, if you will. And I think it's because you see all these people that keep getting signed on into the team and then they get put in a Facebook group and they're asking all these basic questions that to me should have been answered. But then other people like me would comment about it, and I'm not a recruiter at all. So to me, I was like, why is there, going back to the rational thinking, why is there not minimum qualifications before you start recruiting? Like you have to have been a travel advisor for a year. You have to have so many worth of sales, because then those people, can be successful as a travel advisor. So then in theory, they should be able to train people successfully. And so
in theory,
yeah.
So that's the thing is not every salesperson can also train a salesperson.
Right.
This is hard. It's a really hard job. Like it doesn't matter what you're selling. It's hard. I've sold all kinds of shit over the years, and you have to be okay with putting yourself out there vulnerably in a sales position too. So,
and I had zero workflow. I didn't even know what the hell a workflow was and what A, B, and C should be. Like,
dogs don't know what a workflow is, but we all know it is a system, point A, point Z.
Yes.
Right? That isn't a step-by-step process. Now we understand, maybe because we're both in a place where we get it. But one of my really good friends, we were just talking about this because she uses terminology all the time. I'm like, girl, they do not know what you're saying. And she's like, that's basic stuff. And I'm like, we have to coach and teach. Like, I don't want to offend anybody, but
no,
like you're speaking to a third grader.
That's right.
To a college graduate, which a lot of us are, but it doesn't matter.
That's right.
what the hell's a workflow? What's a system?
That's right.
Break down into pieces. So you didn't really even know what that was?
No, like I didn't know like you should do this. Like when you get somebody interested and they reach out to you, you should do this, and then this should happen, and then that should happen when you book, and after you book, this should happen. It was just doing, I guess I was somewhat fortunate that in previous travels, I had hired travel advisors. So I sort of knew what they had done for me. And so I sort of did the same steps, if you will, whether those were right or wrong, I don't know, but here we are. And I have fortunately stumbled upon your Facebook group, the Maximize group, so I could start learning. And I'm not going to lie, there's so many different courses out there.
Yeah, there are a lot of courses.
And
there's like free options too. Like,
yes,
so much stuff just kind of flying at your face if you're looking for it.
Yes.
Especially if you're looking and Googling, and
yes,
it can be quite the Google rabbit hole. So
yes. And I feel like you just have to really be able to click with somebody, or you just are like, okay, I get it. Like, I like this lady. Let me see what this is about. And that's how I felt when I started with your group. I was like, okay, I can get on her train. There was some others I was like, I don't even want it to still work.
Crazy train, but we enjoy it. We're riding it, and it's honest.
Yes.
I think a part of this too is when you find someone, because I'm definitely not everybody's cup of tea. And I think that is something I had to embrace in order to help you guys. And that was a challenge for me as well, because I was like, they're really not going to like me. But I do find that you guys that do click with me, it's all in just the direct conversation.
That's right.
It's like, you don't always want to like enjoy what I have to say, but I'm never going to lie to your face. Like, it's just never going to happen. So how did you find the Maximize group in searching, or before you left your MLM, or did you find it after? Like, what was that process like for you?
Okay. So I had decided, I finally told myself, I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm tired of being, like pushed to try to recruit when I don't have any desire to recruit. I just want to be a travel advisor. I don't have the time or energy to teach others what I don't know.
I think acknowledging that is a huge piece, Chelsey. It sounds like a lot of people might want to step back and consider, like, do you also want to be somebody's coach when you're a brand new travel advisor? It's hard enough,
Yes.
Like,
quit seeing dollar signs and think about yourself and them, and if you're actually going to be worthy. Because I never thought I would be, because I just was not there mentally, even though other people really thought I was like, no, I'm not there.
Well,
and
share advice without being somebody's coach and making an impact. I mean, I think there's a lot of agents out there that have a lot of great things to say, but maybe they don't have the capacity to coach. And as a coach, it can be very difficult sometimes, like, to show up and give like consistent, rational, real advice. And sometimes I'm like, oh, that came across real nasty, and I didn't mean it for it to, like, I think just like being able to recognize like this piece of it is really, really hard.
Right. And just recognizing that I didn't have the time. I had small children. I don't have the time. And I had already kind of started thinking maybe there's somebody better out there for me than who I'm with. And so I had started that process, and I went to the hostagencyreviews.com and really
such a great resource, you guys. If you have not signed up with their newsletter, I love her newsletter so much. It's Host Agency Reviews. I'm blanking on her name. Apologies in advance, but she sends such great, beyond the host agency review piece, she just has great information about our business all the time. So if you're not signed up for her newsletter, HAR, Host Agency Review. Awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Interrupt.
No.
Little plug for her, because I think she also has a podcast. I might have to put her name in the show notes, because I'm feeling like I just am blanking while we're talking. So how was your experience on there?
It was great. I love that you could even niche down. Like, if you wanted to just focus on cruises, well, here's those agencies. Or if you wanted to do Disney, here's those agencies. Or if you didn't want to, I loved that. And I actually, I guess, kind of went through the interview process, if you will. I had narrowed it down to a few that I was intrigued by. I interviewed with one and I was like, nope, that's not going to work for me. And then I interviewed with a second one and I was like, okay, I'm feeling this. I like what I'm hearing. I like what I'm seeing. And I jumped on and I gave myself a promotion because it's a 90-10 split.
We love a self-promotion moment.
Yes. So I did that, and they do not charge monthly fees. It's just your one-time sign-up fee, which is nice. And they have their own systems, back office, whatever you want to call it, in place. That's really handy. And they really do provide a lot of support, and they have preferred partners and all that, just like most do. But I just really felt that, and I enjoyed the fact that all they did was travel advisors. Like, we're not, you can have your own team, but they're not there trying to force you to recruit to bring more people in. They didn't care about that at all. They just wanted you to be a successful.
So you could build out your own company under their umbrella.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's awesome. Do you want to say who it is?
Sure. So I'm currently with Legato.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but good things, and I've actually talked to Bill myself, and I know he is such a great guy. And one of the things I've really enjoyed about when I speak with Legato agents is that there is so much freedom to truly be independent, which is a core, aspect of his business model. And so I am very happy for you that you found Legato. And
me too.
I know he's kind of like doing no marketing. He's very under the wire, but I think he's up and coming. And for anybody looking for a new host, I think he is a great opportunity. And he takes the call. So when you interview with them, you actually get to talk to Bill. So I highly recommend Legato to people looking for a really solid independent contractor model. So, and I love hearing that he has all the training and all the systems in place for you to be successful without the stress.
And I really loved it too, because it forced me to become a business. You had to have registered with your state, have a business checking account, the whole 9 yards, which with my previous one did not give two shits about and never even mentioned any of that stuff. So I didn't even know. And so
setting up your business can be a little challenging, but even if you are selling 2 trips a year, you need to protect yourself. And having an LLC and being signed up with your state and having all those things in alignment are going to protect you. And having your own E&O insurance and conditions. Because if you don't have those in place, you guys, it is if something goes wrong, it is a personal situation. It becomes very personal, and they can actually sue your person, which puts your house and your savings and everything you own at risk. And I'm not a lawyer, but having been multiple companies over the years, it's so important to protect your personal assets. So I'm so glad that Legato requires it instead of and there's not a lot of things that I think a business should require but it makes sense to require you to set up your business correctly before you start selling travel.
Yeah, just the basic business foundation. And so that was kind of scary for me. I was like, oh shit, I've been doing this for 2 years and I didn't.
Girl, we've all been there. It's okay. I mean, we're not saying mistakes aren't being made every day, but things can go perfectly fine for 15 or 17 years and then shit can hit the fan, right? So it's you're not okay to be an IC without an LLC for a certain length of time. But if you are starting to really sell, and I know you were actively, successfully having, quite a few in sales. I think you have your $1,000 in sales.
Yeah. I was very fortunate and did well, considering it's not the part-time, full-time, but I was like, oh, I'm doing pretty good at this. And that's why I was actively wanting to keep pursuing it and finding a host that I wanted to be with. I started with them this past January. So January of 24, probably 6 months in, which I had already kind of started feeling a little burnt out because of the tire kickers, the ghosters, the holy shit, I just spent that much time and nothing happened. And so I had started toying around with the idea of charging fees because I was not charging fees. And that's about the time I stumbled upon, well, I was in the resorts of the Riviera Maya.
Yes, we love Lori.
Yes. She had put up something about, okay, what are your current favorite Facebook groups or something like that? And yours was on there, the Maximize. And I clicked it and joined. And that's when I was like, this is everything I ever needed.
Yes, I'm so glad you found me.
Thank you. And so and it was like your birthday and you were having
a big birthday sale.
I jumped on and I bought the P2C proposed to close.
Yes,
close to home. So I bought both of them.
I know.
And that's when like everything changed for me because I learned sales strategies. I was like, okay, I'm going to start charging a fee. Now I know how to charge it, when to charge it, the whole 9 yards.
What to say.
That's
I think so much about this that gets agents like hung up. Like they have to over explain. And I'm like, pause. You do not have to explain the reasoning. This is your business. You get to do what you want.
Right.
So it's not to say that there isn't a reason, but it doesn't always have to be explained in this great detail. I think Propose to Close is absolutely my favorite course I've ever written. It took a while for me to pick a favorite, like children. They take forever to write these courses and then I birth them out and then I'm like, now I have no, I'm just kidding. But I'm so glad that you feel like you were getting everything you needed.
Yes, I did. That's when all of a sudden I now have a workflow and I ditched the intake form that I had.
I hate the intake form, so I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
It's like, yes, you have to cut the umbilical cord on this intake form, people.
Oh my goodness. So
it
was great because now like I even just love getting on face to face and putting an actual human being. And so, and like you said, like you can see and read people so much better and they put a face with me too, knowing I'm an actual person. I'm not just some bot out on the internet trying to get a sale. And so it's been so freeing because there's no more tire kickers. I'm not spending all night trying to find the perfect trip for them that is absolutely unrealistic, which I knew was unrealistic, but I'm trying to make it work for them. No, none of that shit's happening anymore. Like, this is the budget that you need to stay with, or this is your range. This is where it's probably going to fall. We don't have a budget because you don't know what you want to spend. You just know what you want, but you don't know how much it costs. I do not consider myself a luxury travel advisor at all. Like, I really don't. I have been fortunate that I have sold some massive trips before, and I've had somebody stay at an $1,800 a night in Venice room. Like, I have had that, and that's few and far between. But even them, when they're spending that money, they're like, I want it as cheap as possible. So that's what people are always going to say. I want cheap. So sometimes cheap is $200 and sometimes that's $2,000. It's just, you don't know the person.
Yep. So it really does depend. That's what Propose to Close is all about, is figuring out what's best for the client, but also deciding if you even want them to be a client.
Okay, y'all, let's pause for a quick break.
I know you want to be the best travel advisor that you can be. And if you're tired of being one and done booking engine and ready to build a business rooted in loyalty and referrals and providing the best white glove concierge care, From Close to Home is the course for you. You will develop a workflow that keeps you in control of your time and service the hell out of your reservations after the deposit is placed. You'll never miss a final payment again. You'll continue to connect with your clients between the deposit and their descent home. You will master that post-booking client care in ways you never thought imaginable. Learn how to VIP your clients that allows them to feel so special without breaking the bank of your business. You will sell more insurance. You will upsell them throughout the experience, build those relationships, all while setting boundaries. There is no 24/7 here. You'll learn to manage hiccups like a pro, and you'll have the confidence to follow up with them after they return and encourage them to rebook for next year. Stop chasing new leads and start creating raving, loyal fans who never want to travel without you and refer you to everyone they know. Head to my website to grab From Close to Home. And don't forget to check the show notes for an exclusive coupon code.
Okay, now back to the pod.
I think a lot of agents think that they just have to take everything and do everything and find the unfindable finds to be good at their job. But in fact, it just creates more chaos for both you and your prospects. So I'm so happy that did you feel like there was like an aha moment at any point as you're going through the course, or
The whole course.
dove right in it?
I did.
Bought?
I did. I'm getting on
people at Chelsey need like a little bit of massaging, but you're like, I'm just gonna do it. I like that.
I knew what I wanted, and I went after it, and I'm so thankful.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. You said you felt excited and empowered. I think that is powerful.
Yes, I really did, because again, I went from sending out, okay, here are your 3 options, one that hits your budget, under your budget, and over your budget, which is
boo.
What I was trained. That's right, boo.
I know. I know.
That in and of itself wastes so much of your time just trying to find that third option. And I finally even started telling myself, listen, you're looking for a needle in a haystack, quit. And if all you have are 2 options, then go with it. And then do your first and best. Gee, I
knew at first and best. It was like a post-COVID, like if I really look back at how I did, I was the same way. I would do 3 resorts, 3 different room categories, 3 this, 3 that. And I was like, after a while, I was like, this is what they want. Why am I sending them all this shit? It's just clogging up if you're anything like me, and I think we both have ADHD, it's like, if I were a client, how would I feel looking at that? I can't even funnel through the options. And then you have to walk them through everything. It's like, why are we sending more than what they need? And so I took a risk very soon after COVID, because I was adding fees. I was so tired. I was like, it almost killed all of us in one form or another, honestly, especially in the travel business. It tanked us. But it also really highlighted the issues that we have working for free and giving more than our clients are willing to meet us in the middle on. So it's like, if you need 12 options, you need to go to Expedia. I'm not a booking engine, right? So I had to realize that. And then deciding on first and best was a big step. And honestly, it was, besides ditching the intake form, it was terrifying for me to put that into propose to close, because I thought you guys were going to think I was crazy. And some of you still do. I get feedback on that a lot. But I'm so glad for you. It was like you could click into that, because if you're qualifying a client properly and you know what they want and you can see it in your mind, I'm picturing you at this property on this beach. I can see you in the chair and be able to give that to hands down. We're going to spend more, by the way. We send them if we need to, but we like to find out why.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And I was so blessed during it, because I hammered down. Like, I would get up 4:00 every morning and watch a module so I could get through it, because that's just how I had to.
Wow.
I had 2 small children. It was either do it in the morning time or doing it at night. And I'm opposite of most people. I'm not a night person. I function. My mind is clear in the morning. I get up at the ass crack of dawn so I could hammer down and get through it, so I could be a better travel advisor. And within that time, like, I was probably halfway through propose to close, and I had gotten a repeat client, and she wanted to do a trip. And so I just started that was the first time I charged a fee, started implementing the strategies, the workflows, sent my first and best. She ended up booking first class, the whole 9 yards, a butler, sandals suite, like all of it. And I'm all like, oh my gosh, like, okay. And then pretty soon after that, I had another just random on my Facebook group reach out again, sent the Calendly link, had an appointment. We charged the fee. I sent the first and best in the freaking most expensive room at that resort, and she booked. So it's like,
I am so pumped for you. Well, I mean, I think you were sharing some of this along your process too, because we have the exclusive group, and I remember being like, oh my gosh, Chelsey is rocking and rolling it. And I think it's because, and I love hearing that you created that time for yourself to take the course, because one of the main things I see is people buy it during a sale, they're excited, and then they're bogged down in their poor habits, let's be honest, and don't create time to learn the thing that you purchased. You know, it's like going to the gym. Like, you bought this membership, make time for it, or you will not get stronger at what you want. And I feel like if you don't, I mean, when you said you get up at 4 a.m. just to do a module, I mean, you could do that from your bed. Like, you don't have to get all the way up. And I also think too, just that commitment to change. I'm getting goosebumps because it's like, if you are committed to change, you can change. People who want to stay stuck choose to stay stuck. I'll die on that hill. Like, if you really want change and you own any of my courses, you guys, if you're listening and you own any of my courses and you've only done one or half or none of the modules, you will not have change in your business. And I don't give refunds for this reason. Like, I'm not going to force you to take the course, but you aren't getting your money back for it. So you might as well give it a shot. Like, you invested in yourself. Like, you take that time, get up at 4 a.m. if you have to. And you know, I'm anti-hustle. But when you're in the middle of a big change, whether it's life, business, whatever, that transition has to be committed to. And as someone who is avoiding committing to working out, not refuse to join a gym again, you know, I called, I'm going to go off on a little tangent because why not? I called somebody who was a mobile trainer, and I literally told her, I don't even know if I'm going to do this. So I don't know if you really want to come out here, you know? And she's like, I do want to come out there. I want to talk to you about your goals. And I was like, I have 0 goals. I've just been told I have to do this or I'm not going to feel better. And I know in my heart as a business coach, and she's like, you have to get uncomfortable. She's like saying the shit that I don't, that I say to all of you guys, like, you have to get uncomfortable. You have to do things you've never done before. You know, you have to get up early and take the course, or what's the point? And it's like, if I want to be a stronger human, like physically stronger, I'm going to have to listen to what she has to say. And I'm not going to always like what she has to say. And I think if you can embrace hearing things you don't want to hear, it becomes your own idea because you chose to purchase, you chose to invest in yourself. Like, now, like, take the course, you know, like, implement the strategies. It's not a waste of time.
But I'm kind of in that. I have to kick my own ass right now because I bought Facebook course last month, and I'm on module 3 and I have not watched it yet. And because I was like, oh, that's a long one. I'm really going to have to carve out some time.
It's the big one because it's all about the pillars. That's it.
I really have to just kick my own ass.
Someone down and do it out of bed, or just do it in the bed and listen to it while you're waking up.
But yeah, no, I will say, and any travel advisor I ever run into, I highly recommend your courses, especially Dia. Like, I really didn't. And it also, like, close to home, made me look like a freaking rock star with bookings I already had. Like, so I didn't even do the propose to close on those. This was just, okay, I've gone through this course. Let me try out these strategies.
Girl, you've like been through the gamut of like, you really did dive in. I'm impressed.
And so that was what, like in July. So I had actually 2 sets of clients go to Italy in the very beginning of October. So here I am in September, like, okay, VIPs, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this happened. Let me make you reservations.
Did you use my tip of like speaking in Italian at the beginning and at the end of the email? Or
I said,
a lot of people think that's crazy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, it butters the bread.
That's
right. So much. Yeah.
So I did that. And then I actually had both sets of clients called me after they got home, and we just chatted about their trips. And they're like, oh my gosh, Chelsey, it went off without a hitch. I was telling everyone who was there about you that had travel advisors that did not do this or this or this for them, but you did this for us. So I was like, thank you, Jesus. So now I've got,
and they'll come back,
clients for life. Right.
The point of building a sustainable business is when you serve over sell. When you put the service, you put the qualifying ahead of everything. When you then touch base and stay in touch and VIP your clients and really take the time after they've booked, they will come back. They will come back. Why would we want to keep spinning our wheels on finding new aligned clients when we already have aligned clients if we just step up our service game? And it doesn't take a ton of time to step up your service game, but it's actually some of the most fun, best return on investment of time and money. Close to home is going to be a really good thing if you're struggling with what to do after you take their deposit. I'm so glad that helped you, because when we have plans for life, that's less work in the future. You don't have to start from scratch getting to know each other. You don't have to worry about, will they like me? You already know they love you. They're referring you, and they're referring you to quality leads 9 times out of 10.
Yes. I did not come from a sales background, so I had to learn all of that. I will say I've always been more of a customer service person. So it's the little details that I've always paid attention to. And you just helped me pay attention to more I didn't know existed. And I'm so thankful and fortunate that a vast majority of my clientele right now is repeat and referrals. And I love it because I know what my clients want, and I know when they refer me, they're referring me to clients that I want.
Yes.
I've been so fortunate in this business that I knew nothing about coming into it. And, you know, I, like I said, baptism by fire. I've already switched host agencies.
You've done a lot.
Like, yes, I feel like I'm playing catch up, but I feel like I'm in the teenager phase. Like, I know enough. You can't bullshit me, but I don't know everything. And I have to be willing to open my ears.
You'll never know everything, girl. The needs have changed over the years. The connection, you know, I do think people are craving the in-person connection, which is why I die on the Zoom hill. I mean, there's a lot of hills I'll die on by myself, because there's so many things in this business that I feel like could be easier if you're willing to do just these small things. Mm-hmm. What I love about your story, Chelsey, is truly you have been through it. Like, personally in your life, it's been really tough couple of years, but you made these changes in your business in under 6 months. Like, you fought into your new host, and we love that. That's a big, big change. And then that transition of host takes time. But like, to change how you like almost burnt out to, this is the best thing I've ever invested in. This is the, you know, like did for myself and my business, and how much has changed in 6 months, not even 6 months, because you bought it in July and it's only December. And that's something I have realized in having these podcast interviews is I am a baby business. I've only been in business for less than 2 years, and you guys are making changes so fast that we have this to talk about. It could take 2 years for you to make a big change, you know? And that's still pretty fast in a business. So I'm so excited that you were able to process through all of your grief and still grieving, and being a mom and owning a farm and having a husband that's out in the world doing crazy cool shit. And then just like doing a lot of that on your own. It's, you know, but you found a travel agent bestie, always highly recommend, and have really been able to collaborate with our community.
Yes. Thank you. Well, if I wanted to succeed, I had to. Like, I couldn't just sit here and pretend like something was going to come to me. It's not. Mm-hmm. This was a brand new industry for me. Like, I had to go seek out what I wanted and what I needed to know so I could be successful. Because I truly, truly enjoy planning trips and watching my clients go on these amazing trips. Like, I'm so freaking pumped. I have some clients that leave out next week. Well, I leave out next week for my own personal vacation.
Where are you going? Ooh, have you ever been?
No.
Oh my God. Well, it's a good time of year to go. It's going to be hot down there.
Yes, I'm pumped. We're going for a week. We're going to see the island, enjoy ourselves, and then...
I'm so excited for you and so deserving. So you do have clients traveling at the same time as you?
I do. And they're going to a whole different part. So they're going to Iceland and Ireland. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. And that was an interesting trip because they, when they first reached out, they wanted to go to Iceland for 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, Iceland's cool, but I don't know if you want to go for 2 weeks in the dead of winter. So
like just, 3 or 5 hours?
Yeah. Like,
okay, if I'm correct. Yeah. Because the little bit I know about Iceland is like, and it's as F up there.
Yes. And so I think this is where you have to be you and be a true travel advisor. And even though they came to me wanting that, I said, okay, how about this? What if you went to Iceland for a week? And I said a week because it's Christmas. So you've got Christmas Eve, Christmas Day that you're obviously not going to have a whole lot to do because they're holidays, but you're right there by all these countries within a short direct flight. You want to go somewhere else too. And they were like, gosh, I hadn't thought about that. I love that. So they're going to Ireland for a week, and they're going to get to see all the Christmas markets. They're going to do the Northern Lights.
Like the best fucking time. Now I want to go in the winter, and I am not a winter girl.
Same. And again, like, you're making me, I'm going to look like a freaking rock star because I've sent out all my VIP emails that have came back to me. We'd be delighted to leave a treat in the room for you and a note and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus.
Because you can now leave to go on your own trip knowing that they are in good hands, but you are still, are you going to be available to them, or what's your plan?
So I have told them, like, I'm going to be on my personal vacation, but
the honesty.
I will have my phone on me. So if you have any issues, please don't hesitate to reach out, but just know we're in different time zones.
Yeah.
You know, I've got my own shit going on. So like, my husband and I, ever since we got married, our big deal when we go somewhere is we go fishing. So I've got 2 days that we're going to be out on the water fishing, that even if you try to call me, you're not going to get a hold of me. And unfortunately, one of the days is Christmas Day that we're going to be fishing. There's nothing, I mean, you can't do anything on Christmas Day anyways. They've already got reservations for supper that night, and I think lunch that day. So she's honestly been great to work with because she's been a go-getter as well. And so
we love that.
Yes. And then I've been able to make her life easier because of my itinerary builder that I can use, and it's a nice pretty app she can download, and
love it.
Yes. So I'm thankful for that. And then, like, I have some clients leaving in a couple of days to go on a cruise, and they get back when I leave. So it's just like you said, clear is kind, telling them I'm going to be gone. I will have my phone on me, but this is what's going to happen. And so also I have clients leaving at the end of December, already got them prepped and ready to go. And I've got clients leaving at the beginning of January. I'm going to make sure they're prepped and ready to go.
Girl, you're busy. You have a very busy holiday coming up. I'm very impressed.
This is when I say, I don't know how I have not just crashed and burned some trips before, because it's just like there's a complete lull. Nothing's going on. And then all of a sudden, bam, you have like 100 trips to plan or to get through, it seems like. But
I know, but that check is coming. And that is like what we look forward to, because I don't think people realize like the waiting game on getting paid. Like I'm waiting on 3 groups to pay out that traveled 60 days ago.
Oh,
you know, and I'm like, when am I going to get this money? It's not going to be this year. I'll tell you, like 2024 is over and those checks aren't coming. So I don't think people understand like the amount of time and energy that goes into a vacation. And then we are ready to get paid. We should be getting paid. And sometimes we still have to wait because the vendor is taking a little longer. So, I mean, there's just so much that goes into it. And I'm so impressed. I'm just so proud of you. I'm not saying that in a good way. I say this
thank you.
Every episode. I'm like, I'm so proud. But I think it's because I know how hard you've worked and the changes you had to implement. And my stuff is not easy. You have to really buy in mentally. It's a mental game too. And I love like how you felt empowered by the courses, you know, through the process of listening to the coaching on the courses, because I do spend a ton of time like talking you guys up. Like it's not just do this, do this, do this, do this. It's like, do this because all this other stuff will happen for you if you are willing to make these changes. I'm so pumped.
Side note on the courses, like if you're doing the course, you need to go to the resource section first and download the handbooks, like the guidebooks. I mean, like seriously.
But like, I love that you said you printed it off.
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Do it. First thing.
You bought it. Like it comes with all this great stuff. I do think that that's probably one of my bigger annoyances is like when the questions come in on the groups and they're like, well, I haven't finished the course, but I need X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, it's there. It is all in the resource. And they're like, where's the resource? I'm like, it's under the resource button, or it's under the module that is collaborate. You know, I tried to put them together in modules. I tried to be really organized. Everybody, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like we all kind of want that answer to be handed to us. And what I love about you, Chelsey, is you were like, I know it's not going to be handed to me. I have to go do this work. I have to get up early. I have to do the modules, because it's never going to click in if you're just like cherry picking from the course, the whole system, especially with Propose to Close and Close to Home and the Facebook groups course. has a system in place to make your life easier. But if you skip a section, you're going to be like, okay, what the fuck just happened? Okay, at the end of each episode, we're doing a couple of things. And I want to talk to you first about what is your unpopular opinion about travel?
That it's not all rainbows and sunshines.
If that's not the most actual, like, real talk ever. Our entire episode is that's the theme, is it's hardly rainbows, right?
No, not at all. And especially when you're first, okay, and like you mentioned earlier, the whole waiting game to get paid.
So it's not rainbows. We know that. So you got to get your mind right.
That's right. It ebbs and flows, just like I was talking about earlier. There may be crickets for a long while, and then it hits all of a sudden where everybody wants a trip or everybody's traveling at the same time. So just being able to manage that. Oh, you're busy. And
manage your calendar. Yes. You have to know what's happening in your business all the time. Be super self-aware. I put everything in my reminder app. And what do you do to stay organized now that you have those tools?
Yep. So I live and breathe by my calendar and actually I just bought it just came in the other day, wall calendar, so I can get them all visually. So as I'm on a call and they're like, okay, we're wanting our dates to be this, I can flip through my calendar real quick and say, oh, can we like bump it down a week or two? Or, so that way I have calendar control and I'm not scheduling.
But I feel like we could do an entire episode on what you just said. Like,
yes, you can.
Other agents are going to listen to this and be like, what does she mean bump it down? I'm going to tell you right now, you get to control when people travel if you're willing to talk to them about your own schedules.
Yes, and I'm able, like, my Calendly is linked to my Google, which is linked to my iPhone calendar. So it's all there, regardless of which calendar I'm opening, it's all there.
Amazing. I love that. So what else can they do right now?
Ditch the intake form.
But then what are they supposed to do? Like,
then you have to have a phone call. You set up an appointment and you talk to that person. And I love Zoom as well because I love face-to-face interaction. But I live in the middle of nowhere, issues with internet connection before.
Fair enough.
So even when it was supposed to happen, I immediately called them. I got their number. So we had a phone call about it. Mm-hmm. So just talk to them in one form or another, whichever platform you use.
Just talk to them.
That's right. Yes. My next one would be charge a fee.
Ooh. Now, this may not be 100% free because if you are in an SOT state, things like that, you might have to invest in some of that protection, but it will make up for it because you're charging a fee.
That's right.
Back into our business, right?
Yeah. And it's nice because it creates a second revenue stream for you now that you're getting paid right now. So that trip that's a year out, well, you've already got some money from it and you're now more vested in the trip as well. And you're also not going through each vendor like, oh my gosh, this one's going to pay $50 more in commission than this one is. Like, you just go pick whichever vendor you want to work with and work with them, regardless of what may or may not be the end result and of the commission, because you've already gotten paid some. And just in the handful of bookings I've had this year alone, I've gotten several thousand more than what I would have had.
I'm so glad. And we are deserving of that. I mean, I think people are like, oh, there's so many free agents, and there are, but it doesn't mean that we are not worth what we charge. So, that unpopular opinion of somehow we're defrauding the industry. It's like, no, Asta is on our side and they represent all of us in some way. And then also it's not 1997. We're not getting paid on airfare anymore. We're not always getting paid on a tour or a transfer. And if we really want to be giving you the full experience, things where we don't get paid, it's easier for us to invest in you if you're investing in us to give you something that you would love that maybe doesn't pay commission because we've been paid. So I think like there's a flip side of that of agents who charge typically are also very open to booking things that don't pay us. So, because we've been paid. And then just all the time and investment and all the extras that we are able to really feel excited to do. And I think a lot of agents get burnt out because they're doing all this stuff for free all the time. And then it's like, was it even worth it? Like I made $8 on that entire booking after
That's right.
the hours I invested. It could be, hundreds of hours depending on the client and the situation.
Right. But my aligned client is going to pay my fee.
That part. Anything else you would advise, like a new or even a veteran agent, somebody that's been doing this longer than you?
Yes. So this is your business. Treat it like one. So you don't have to take every single lead, just like you were saying. If it's not your aligned client or you're just not feeling it, then you can be nice and refer to another travel agent that it would be. It is making those business foundations of having a business checking account and getting your LLC, DBA, whatever you need to do set up, and your E&O insurance, which I have to put out there. When I was with my previous host agency, they were like, we have E&O insurance for everybody, blah, 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 blah. Well, then after coming on with my new host and learning the things I learned, I was like, oh, that's sketch. Like, I don't know that they really did have my back or not. And
They definitely have their own back.
Yes. And I purchased the E&O insurance and I've already got my return on investment because I actually did use it for something. I did.
It's a little bit more about what that was like.
Yeah. So I had a client, he was military and he was overseas and he was planning a trip with some friends, and where he was from, like that airline that he was going to have to go on, it's not domestic by any means. And so I had booked through a travel partner for the airfare, just the airfare, and my fault, but I did not realize that the ticket was basically, if you have to cancel, you don't get any money back. You don't get a refund. You don't get a travel credit. You get zip. And so I was like, oh shit. Well, then he ended up moving back over here to America and was going to need to change his flight. Okay, no big deal. I didn't think it was a big deal until I did not read the fine print and all this other stuff. So I finally just called the E&O insurance and said, this was my F up. 100% my fault because I didn't read the fine print. What options do I have or not have? And they were able to basically take what, that there was no refund, no, none of this, none of that. And he did have insurance. But again,
it doesn't cover the fine print.
Right.
But choice change, right? Like it's not cancel for any reason.
Right. And so it was just the whole thing. But fortunately, they were able to take that. It was like a change of job, military thing and that. And he provided me with all the correct documentation, as well as me providing the correct documentation from the airline that he wasn't going to get anything back. And I was kind of surprised. They actually were paid the airfare of the new ticket, not the old ticket, but the new ticket, and minus the deductible that I was required to have, like I had to pay. But I was like, this
got a life changer there.
It did, because again, it was my mistake. And I know everybody has their own views on how they run their business, but I'm very much if it's my mistake, I own up to it. And I was ready to pay out of pocket for his new flight because that was my, so fortunately the insurance paid, but what the difference was, I did pay out of pocket, which was very minimal. It was like a couple $100 because of the deductible. I had to, they didn't pay.
I think you might be the first time I've ever heard about a story like this. I mean, I think people don't know if it's going to pay off it's like any insurance. Like you don't need it till you need it. It's,
Well, and I was so thankful because they could have easily said, nope, sorry, like there's nothing I can do. But they did. They worked through it. It was a very easy claim. Like,
who was the company? Because I think we're all interested in knowing who a really positive, insurance company would.
Berkshire and Hathaway.
Yeah, Berkshire is one of the best. So I'm very happy that you were able to work with them closely and get that fixed. I think this is such a great, y'all, these are unplanned conversations, and I had no idea we were going to be talking about this, and I love it so, so much. It sometimes means we go over in time, but thank you for sharing that, and I'm very glad that turned out well. But it also, I think, again, we make mistakes. We're human, and I do think that realness is really the piece that makes you so successful, Chelsey. Like, you're so willing to be honest with your client, yourself, and make these decisions that work for you. Because I always say, I'm not anti signing up. Like I want as many people in the who want to be travel advisors to be travel advisors. I just want you to be set up for success. And that takes more effort than just signing a document and paying a fee. We have to be ready for everything that comes because these people are boarding aircrafts. This is not a little thing. I don't care if you spend $2,000 or $200,000. Like they're getting on an airplane, they're going somewhere, and we're in charge of that. So like take it seriously. And I think that that's the piece where people, whether you do this quote unquote as a side business or part-time or whatever, there's just so many things that go into it, and not having all of that knowledge can really get expensive if you're not protecting yourself and putting your client first. So I'm really excited for what's to come. Chelsey, like, what are you so looking forward to in 2025?
I'm looking forward to upping my fee because I
love that, giving ourselves praise.
Because I think I can. And I think that I was apprehensive to do it because I hadn't done it for 2.5 years. And I didn't know what my clients may or may not be willing to pay. And to be honest, there's only been one person and that was just a new client anyway, that was not with me before, who did not pay the fee. So you know what? I didn't waste any time trying to put a proposal together. I'm gonna up that in 25. The other things is like I have a sales goal for myself. And, now that I've been through Propose to Close, Close to Home, I'm hoping to get through the Facebook one pretty soon, that I have all these strategies now that I can just put into place and let my business run itself. And I love the repeat and referral clientele because I know them, they're my clients. But if I can get new ones, that's great too. But I'm not going to sit here and stress about it either. Like it's going to happen if it's supposed to happen. And I guess thinking about new business ventures as well within it, because I think there's great resources for everybody to be had. And I started creating these really beautiful destination guides to send to my clients before they go with all the information that they need. So I think I'm going to start trying to sell the Canva templates online for other advisors. So I'm excited about that. It's just scary. Like I know. Do it.
I know. You just have to do it scared. And
yes,
like, what's the worst case scenario? No one ever finds the Canva template. Like that's literally the worst case scenario.
That's right.
And as someone who sells Canva templates, they do expire, those links. I did not know this. Like, again, like doing new things and being on Etsy and all of that stuff. It's a lot, but it has been so worth learning and helping others. Like you'll feel so excited to be able to like really help other advisors thrive and level up.
I think 2025 is just going to be a total personal growth because I've also learned so much about myself with all the mindset shifts of this is my time and I'm going to use it how I want to use it. And you don't get to dig that anymore. So just that I can be professionally better, personally better, be a better mom, a better wife. Like I think we're always trying to strive to be better, but it is such a mind fuck to do that.
It is, especially this time of year.
Yes.
And somehow we're here and we're talking business and it's a lot of fun. So thank you so much for coming onto the podcast today. You have been a joy to talk to, and I know that this is going to impact other advisors, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. We want to only get 5-star reviews. I'm supposed to say that. And we will have all of your contact information, Chelsey, that you want us to share in the show notes. So if you have any questions for Chelsey or need us for anything, you'll be able to reach out to her on Insta or wherever. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And Chelsey, thank you.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on today's episode, friend. Thanks for hanging out with me again on the No BS Travel Advisor podcast. I hope you're leaving this episode feeling fired up, inspired, and ready to take back control of your business. And let's be honest, your fucking life. If today's episode hit home, do me a favor and share it with your fellow travel advisors who need to hear this. And don't forget to leave a review. Your support means the world and helps me reach more badass advisors like you. And hey, if you've got a story to share or some no BS advice of your own, you've taken a course or two of mine, maybe you've been a coaching client, I want to hear from you. Head to my website to apply to be a guest. I'd love to feature you on an upcoming episode. Until then, you fucking got this. Keep being bold, keep being unapologetic, and keep building the business you fucking deserve. This is Marcie Muensterman signing off with zero fluff and a whole lot of heart.